I appreciate and thank you very much for organizing the International Conference on Innovation and Interdisciplinary Solutions for Underserved Areas. And you're going to hold this between April 11 and 12 in Dakar, Senegal. I truly appreciate very much whenever I come to Senegal, the hospitality and the kindness of the people I meet is always memorable. And I also appreciate the values you all have for promoting Pan-Africanism. I hope you'll continue to do that too. I especially appreciate that you offered to make the journal that we started some 9 years ago, the African Journal of Science, Technology, Innovation and Development, as you see behind now, to be a collaborator in organizing this important innovation and interdisciplinary solutions for Underserved Areas Conference. And I would like now to express my thoughts related to the key issues that you have raised. First, innovation. Second, finding interdisciplinary solutions. And third, focusing on undeserved areas. For me, globally, the entire Africa falls in the category of the undeserved area. So when I talk about innovation and the application of knowledge and science and technology, I will be concentrating on how we can use innovation to create innovative, knowledgeable, technologically driven Africa. Now, the global order today is technologically driven. The ICT, software development, convergence of telecommunications, mass miniaturization of consumer goods is happening daily. The whole world is moving in now with iPads, even to smart cars. There's now the infinite society, the network society. You have PayPal, Thwate, Alibaba, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Okay? What don't we have now? We are creating new technologically driven interrelationships, networks across the world. And this is not just simply for those in the developed world. It's now global. It's moving global. What we are now having is we have ICT for lifelong learning, and almost like a goal and objective for all humanity is happening now. So we now live in what's called the digital age. We now live in what's called the fourth industrial revolution. So we are in a very interesting time. What's happening? Our education system is changing. We have now online courses. All the Ivy League universities in the United States now offer free online courses. We can use MOOCs, we can use Coursera, what don't we use now? So the education system is changing. So it may mean that teachers are going to be not just people, but also technologically, okay, articulated areas and subjects, interdisciplinary subjects that will make us learn, do, and develop new knowledge. We are also running into what is called now the unity of knowledge. The unity of knowledge. The human sciences, the natural sciences, the engineering sciences, the social sciences, all of them now are getting interdisciplinary. And in fact, Edward Wilson wrote in 1998 a book called The Unity of Knowledge, the consilience between various human sciences, human knowledge. This is extraordinary. This is like when you invent now, it is not just inventing knowledge through one discipline bounded within a certain field. It's actually breaking the boundaries. Exactly like the unified field theory by Einstein. He combined space, time, energy, and matter, mass. From there, he created an extraordinary theory in physics, what we call the unified field theory. In the same way now, people are now thinking we need to create a way by which knowledge systems can be combined. And you know what? The ICT, the digital age, actually can facilitate it in a very interesting way. I mean, it can actually allow us to actually explore new worlds and really develop new ideas and new visions, and also create a situation where imagination and reason are combined in such a creative way where you have a new creation, a new knowledge development can come. So we are in a very interesting time and really challenging time where the knowledge world is expanding across the world and across the universe. So we have the education system, the way knowledge is disseminated, the ability to have infinite access to all the knowledge, and the quality and the effectiveness, and also in terms of also applying all this knowledge to providing effective service provision for everyone. Now the challenge is, since we develop these things and somehow some of the knowledge is controlled by some and they use it for their own advantage, then we have a problem. What we should then do is, as the knowledge world expands and the human population also relatively expands, we need to find a solution, a very important solution, where the well-being of the people, that everyone must eat, everyone must be fed, everyone must drink, everyone must have a shelter. That principle, that humane principle, is also anchored, linked to this extraordinary knowledge, technological knowledge, digital knowledge that we are in, that the world is awash with. I think we need to do that now. How we do it is a very interesting challenge, because the systems we have are not driven by well-being anchored and also humane, and also with intelligence, emotional intelligence, moral intelligence, intellectual intelligence, and social intelligence, psychological intelligence. Lack also. Although we develop all these things, it doesn't seem that we develop. What we then need to do is also develop this technology in such a way that these intelligences that I just mentioned are also included. If they are integrated, what we have is the undeserved areas will return to the deserved areas. So we have then a completely new way by which we could actually save this planet, make it live longer, and have and even everyone will have a beautiful world, a beautiful life, a beautiful existence. I think that's what we need to work on, and I think this is a very important thing to promote. There is also the problem of also developing what to do with education. Now, especially the education from the early part, from kindergarten to tertiary level, given now we now have ICT and the digital component actually completely integrated into the knowledge system, what it may mean is, how do we promote literacy among young people? How do we do it through mobile phones? How do we reach the rural areas? How do we go out of school, migrations, all these things that are happening? How do we provide equal access to learning through technology to everyone? How do we address the digital divide? It is now on us. And how do we develop techniques of learning that actually will allow us to develop all these things? How do we use ICT for pedagogy, for bringing integrated projects? How do we reach the unreachable? How do we create what I call a networked technology index that actually allow us to make sure that the undeserved areas become deserved through some technological index that we measure and then ultimately try to address. How do we do all these things? These are some of the most important issues that we need to deal with. So the key thing now is how do we leverage the ICT nucleus to make sure that all those people who are not able to access it, from the rural areas, from young women and migrants, all these minorities and many people who suffer for a whole variety of reasons, how they could be addressed will be very, very important to deal with and to work with and find solutions for. And I think that's an important issue. The next very important issue I want to raise is about Africa. The key thing is, in Africa, Africa has huge resources. Its size is more than 3 times the size of the United States. What doesn't Africa have? But the population of Africa, I hope you don't accuse me or anything. I think the majority of the people should not live in the way they are living now. They should be living very well. I have to tell you, a country like Norway, over 20 years ago, got oil. And they decided what to do with the oil. Should we give it to the state? Should we give it to the companies? Or should we give it to the people? They decided to give it to the people. Now they set up a fund. Now I'm told over the last 20 years, they have raised enough fund to make sure that every Norwegian can earn over 2 million kroner. Meaning the whole nation is a millionaire. All the people are. Now, tell me about Africa. What don't we have? Even the whole internet world, this technology I told you about, ICT, without us, without our technology, it will not go anywhere. If we have that, why don't we have our people suffer? Why don't they also become millionaires like the Norwegians? Why not Africans unite, trust each other, show moral intelligence and emotional intelligence and governance intelligence, leadership intelligence, institutional intelligence, system intelligence? Why don't they do like that? Create a system so that they can actually use the resources very cleverly to make the people live a very decent life. And how come the whole of Africa, I will consider this as in your conference title, undeserved in relation to the rest of the world? When it has everything, why it has nothing? We need to change this. This has to change. It cannot go on. And the only way I think we can change it is if we use these new technologies also. And if we are now in the 4th industrial revolution, we must not be in the global value chain where we continue to sell minerals and agriculture and raw materials. We have to change this, and we mustn't be in a situation where foreign direct investment or others come through something and they take our resources and they sell it to us, manufactured goods at a higher price. This value chain has to change. So the African value chain has to be created. A new technological direction has to be created. Our challenge is to use the modern technology that I just described. All these have to be used very cleverly to transform the African agrarian, raw material, mineral-based economy and create an industrial economy, a manufactured economy, a united, integrated African development path that allows us literally in a short time to own and to apply, to use, to share all the resources to make Africa move onwards and forwards and never remain backwards. That vision, that ambition, and that mission has to be now on the agenda. And I think in the conference, I really would like you to discuss this very systematically and very, very intelligently to make sure that not only do we just learn and exchange information and knowledge and research results, but we must also move on beyond that, try to network and try to see how we could reach and create policy learning so that the policymakers do not ignore what we produce. In fact, they find it very, very challenging, and they find it something they cannot ignore. Something like that is what we need. And I think if we continue to work on this basis, I believe that the future will be bright and the undeserved Africa will be deserved. The current technology will be an asset and not a liability to move Africa's future onwards and forwards. I wish you great success in this conference, and I really appreciate very much, and I would like to continue collaborating with you, and I think we should continue this conference, and I will be always with you, participate with you very much, and the brothers and all of you, like Nationwide and others, you have been all great, and I've met you in Nairobi when the teachers training. We were in Africa Leaks, and you're all wonderful. And I really appreciate you, and congratulations. Keep strong, remain blessed, and let Africa unite, not in 2063, but now. And we have the African Federation Movement. We have, of course, also the African Youth Council, African Union Youth Council, where I am a special advisor to the president of the youth movement. We are hoping to have a great conference. I hope you'll participate in October in Kigali, and I welcome you to that too. Thank you very much. Thank you.